Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
What's up? Welcome back to NBS Fitness Radio. I am here with Wes Carter. Wes is actually Keki's husband, and we're here to talk about maintaining your health and fitness, your nutrition, your training regimen while traveling. That can throw a lot of people off, and Wes has some good experience in that area, so we're going to talk to him about that. Quick, Wes, to say hi, and then kind of introduce yourself with your background in fitness, how long you've been doing it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for having me. So if I go too deep, just let me know, cut me off. But yeah, so I've been pretty fitness-y for a long time.
Yeah.
So in high school, I was on the baseball team. I was also in the band.
Okay.
And
what'd you play?
I played all of the saxes, and I also played the tuba.
Okay. Wow. So you played a woodwind and a brass instrument.
I did.
That is not common.
I
was in band as well, so I can I can comment on that.
Yeah, I could read treble clef, but I could never read bass clef either.
Okay.
So for the tuba, it's only 3 fingers that you have to work with. Yeah. So I just wrote in, which fingers to push down for a single note.
That's awesome.
But I bring that up just because that plays a lot into just my overall fitness.
Yeah.
Because I did marching band with tuba.
Yeah, which is basically carrying a giant instrument while walking.
It is.
It's rucking.
And that added to my aerobic capacity later in life.
It's like rucking while singing. It's like walking a lot, carrying something heavy while blowing into an instrument.
And controlled breathing too. So yeah.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, that's so I did baseball and band in high school. Okay. So I ran a lot for baseball. Okay. Because I was a pitcher. That's all we did.
Yeah.
And so once I got to college, it just stuck with me. I enjoyed it and did a lot of running. Still did some lifting, and then once after college, still did it on my own. It's still just kind of my thing to do outside of work, and then really got into nutrition and understanding, what are these foods I'm actually putting in my body? What do they do for me? And then that developed into just if you want to call it an obsession with nutrition and fitness. Yeah. And then really getting serious about bodybuilding, and then doing that for a few years, and basically just trying to maintain strength, but being as lean and I guess in aerobically capable as possible. And so that's when I discovered CrossFit.
Gotcha.
And got introduced into that and developed a passion for it, and that's kind of where we are today.
How long have you been doing CrossFit style training?
I started CrossFit late 2016.
Okay, so that's 6-ish years at this point.
Yeah.
Almost 6 years. Okay. How long did you bodybuild?
About 4 years.
Okay. Did you ever compete?
I did not.
Okay.
I thought about it lots of times, but I'm very introverted, and I couldn't get past that little barrier. So.
Yeah, you kind of break bodybuilding's you definitely have to break that barrier because you have to be on stage basically naked in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just do this on my own time.
Well, side note, I'd be interested in your thoughts because my background was similar. I played sports in high school. I kind of got into bodybuilding in high school, so I would be playing sports and then doing bodybuilding style training after practice or in the morning or whatever. Then I got into strength training, more powerlifting kind of stuff after college. And then I got into CrossFit style training maybe 4 years ago, something like that. And one thing with regards to that is having done bodybuilding and strength training prior to doing CrossFit, I already had kind of a muscularity and strength base already in place. And I was just curious, if you think that, how helpful that is with regards to CrossFit, or if you started CrossFit, could you still build that muscularity and strength base, or are you going to cap out a little bit and probably have to take some side focus training to like develop that muscularity and develop that strength so that you can then come back to CrossFit and be better?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
So I think I had a really good advantage when I started CrossFit because like I'd done bodybuilding for about 4 years, and I was single bachelor, working full time, introvert. Like I spent a lot of time in the gym. And so I would spend a single session on a single body, like muscle group. And so I'd do like 2 hours on arms, 2 hours on chest, 2 hours on back. And when I got to CrossFit, like I had really good muscular endurance, really good lactate threshold. And so I remember like one of the first times at the CrossFit gym, just kind of hanging out with some buddies. They were like, let's see how many curls we can do. And so they took a curl bar, had like 75 pounds on it, and they knocked out like 25 reps. And then comes over to me, and I start repping, and they're paying attention, but they're like, you know, cutting up or whatever. And before you know it, like, I'm like, all right, I'm done. This is boring. What'd you do? Like 30 or whatever? I was 75. And so it's like, I had that muscular endurance from all of that hypertrophy training.
That makes sense.
And so, like, I think there's a huge advantage going in like that. And if you go into CrossFit without that already, I think it's really important to not forget that that's a key component to fitness. Because you're not looking at just aerobic capacity for being able to do like metcons and conditioning. Like you've got to have that muscular endurance. And you need to do it. Like that's the whole purpose and importance of accessory work on the side, which accessory work is really just hypertrophy.
What about strength stuff?
Strength is my weakness by far. It was just never something that I was genetically good with. And it was not something that like caught my interest as much as like, you know, the other facets of training, whether it was hypertrophy training or even just like aerobic capacity. Because at the end of the day, like I stress my mind out a lot with work, and even like when I was in school and everything, like my mind's just always spinning. And so I need like a physical outlet. And strength training for me wasn't a good way to do that.
Because you spend the majority of your time not doing anything.
You spend the majority of the time just resting, sitting in between sets thinking. And so for me, it was like running or biking or whatever, you know.
I definitely feel like having the muscular base helped me build higher levels of strength because I had a lot of, you know, contractile tissue that I could then develop for strength output. And then in doing the strength training and like building my strength up to like a really high level, like even when that came down, like I was like, even though I was like, man, I'm not near as strong as I used to be, I was still like significantly stronger than every other person that was doing CrossFit. Which helped like specifically like a deadlift something like the open wad with like the 225. It's like that's relatively easy weight to do for reps. But the thing that strength training killed me on was like my cardio was terrible, and then my mobility was terrible. You know, so that's like what I've been fighting to bring back. Is like I was like I don't need to do any strength training. It's as high as it needs to be sufficient at you know, CrossFit style training. But like I'm still trying to build that endurance and that mobility back so I can move better for longer periods of time. There's also the flip side of like getting up to 280 pounds, you know, like I got all the way down to like 210, but 210 is still pretty heavy, you know, in terms of like body weight stuff. So sometimes that kind of wears me out. And I feel I feel best in that 215, 220, you know, range. But then if it's going to be, you know, any type of gymnastics works usually is like, I'm not going to do very great at that because my body weight's just a little bit heavier than everybody else. All right. So when did you start kind of traveling, and what was kind of your first experience with, how do I get this done while on the road?
So Probably when I started working, 2011, started my big boy job, and would have to travel for some training classes that I had to take, and then a couple of years later, started traveling for actual work things, you know. Because in the beginning, like I was a fresh start, like didn't know anything about anything, but they hired me for the job for some reason, couldn't figure it out. And so lots of training classes on that stuff. And then after that, you know, travel for work from time to time. I'd say like 2 or 3 times a year, maybe.
Okay. So that's like with the traveling for training and the traveling for work, you're doing a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Is it primarily from by plane, or were you driving places?
Plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd fly to Pittsburgh, or I'd fly to Phoenix, Albuquerque, Miami, just different places all over the U.S.
All right. Well, then what would you do? Like, how would you plan your training, and your nutrition kind of around that? What were your strategies?
Yeah. So I would look at the hotel I was staying at. If I had a choice in the hotel, like I would go choose a hotel based on the gym.
The hotel gym, or like a gym nearby?
Well, preferably the hotel gym.
Okay.
If I can find a hotel that has a pretty decent hotel gym, I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
That way I can avoid like having to travel somewhere else while I'm there, like getting an Uber or use the rental car, schedules, things like that. So I can just wake up, go downstairs, knock it out, and go on. So I would check out the hotel gym. If it was good enough, you know, that's where I'd make my plan. If it wasn't, then I'd figure out, you know, which nearby gym is going to work for me.
Gotcha.
And then go in, talk to the owners and be like, hey, can I get like a day pass or a week pass or something like that?
What kind of training were you doing during this time? Like, were you bodybuilding then, or were you back doing CrossFit?
Yeah, from 2011 to 2016, roughly, I was doing bodybuilding.
Okay.
So it was really just like, where are my dumbbells? Where's my bench press?
Gotcha.
Things like that.
Which is okay. Well, like, what was the most common setup for like a hotel gym? Because like in my experience, like in most hotel gyms are like one of each cardio piece, then like some yoga mats, and then like maybe a like Bowflex style multi-use machine over in the corner.
Yep, that's pretty much it. If you could find a gym or a hotel that had like dumbbells that went up to 45, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen one with a barbell ever.
There were a couple, but usually just like a multi machine.
Okay.
And
so then, like, how would you adjust your training then around that situation? Because probably don't have to adjust it much if you're going into a commercial gym. You just they've got the equipment. But if you're doing it in the hotel gym, what would you do? How would you adjust?
Yeah. So hotel gym, I'd still do like aerobic stuff as well. So treadmill was important for me at that time. Couldn't do double unders or jump rope or anything. But yeah, I'd go, and if they had dumbbells that went up to 45, and they had a multi machine that I could do like a lat pull down with, pull ups, even like tricep push downs, bicep curls, standing flies, whatever.
Yeah.
I would go and like program some supersets.
Yeah.
And that way, like you're really taxing the muscles. And I'd either do supersets for the same muscle group. So I'd do like a set of 10 on something, turn around, go to a different exercise and do another set of 10.
Yeah.
Or I would do opposing muscle groups. So like chest and back and do a superset like that. Anything to get a lot of blood flow into the muscles to get a good pump. And that creates, you know, it shocks the muscles. And so I would just try to keep them in a shocked state for as long as I could. So instead of like doing a set of 10 and resting 3 minutes or whatever, I'd do like 2 sets of 10, rest a minute, do it again. And it'd almost be like, you know, have my heart rate up higher than what it would normally be. Yeah. And that way I get a fast workout in, and by the time I'm done, like I'm still pretty tired because my muscles have just been going nonstop essentially.
What about for legs? What would you do for legs?
That was always tricky.
Okay,
But I had an easy out because I was a bodybuilder.
Well, technically, bodybuilding still involves legs. Now, if you said you did physique,
Physique. Okay, yeah. Physique. Let me clarify that because it was all the same to me back in the day. But yeah, physique.
okay, so you're like, oh, who needs to train those?
Yeah. Yeah, legs were different because like hotel gym, you really don't have any options at all. So it's like, how many air squats can I do?
Yeah, it's just like air squats,
Lunges,
step ups, or something, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. When would you normally train? Like, what time of day?
it varied all the time.
Okay.
Especially like traveling.
I was gonna see like, I would imagine traveling, you're somewhat limited to like, I'm doing it before my training. I'm doing it like in the morning when I wake up, or I'm doing it in the evening before I go to sleep.
Yep.
Is that kind of what you? I mean, I guess you're somewhat on that same schedule when you're working.
Yeah.
What was your preferred time?
I mean, I always prefer afternoons.
Okay.
I'm not a morning person by any means, but most of the time when I was traveling, like I would prioritize and do the mornings.
Okay, just to
because
get
I
it
didn't
in.
know if I'd be able to in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Because at that time, it's like I was so new to the company, and if you're traveling with other people, they're like, "We want to go out to eat.
Yeah,
Let's all go out to eat as a team." It's like,
You can't be like,
okay,
I can't. I'm gonna go work out my biceps.
yeah. But if that weren't the case, like I have my morning session, and then say I have free time in the afternoon, like what else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I can go sit in the hotel room,
yeah. Be bored.
go see the great tourist offerings of Albuquerque. Like I'm gonna go back and go to the gym again.
Sorry, anyone from Albuquerque.
I've been there on vacation. It was a weird vacation.
Fair enough. All right, and then how would you adjust your nutrition? 'Cause I feel like training a lot of time is like, I mean, like you can take workout clothes, you can find a way to get it done, right? Nutrition becomes tough because a lot of times like you're not somewhat in control of your food options. You're in a hotel, you can't, especially if you're not checking anything on, you can't take food with you. A lot of times it's like some of those training things or work stuff, like food provided. And so you're like, well, these are my options here, or So how would you like adjust your nutrition during that time?
Yeah, so that time I didn't know about nutrition.
Okay.
From like 2011 to 2013, 14,
Okay.
I didn't understand nutrition. So like when we go out for meals, it'd be like, how much money do I have? I get $30 for this meal. Okay, well,
I'll spend
what's
$30.
the most expensive thing on there? and you eat all the things that you don't normally eat, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not paying for it.
Yeah.
And like brand new to free food, free trips and everything. It's like, I'm going to take advantage of this. But like once I started figuring out nutrition, that it changed. Like it was, all right, well, I'm fine eating salads. Like I got lucky because I actually like eating the things that most people don't. So like fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, salads, whatever. Like I enjoy that stuff. And so that would be kind of my go-to was, all right, I know I'm going to be hungry. So I know I can eat a lot of vegetables or a lot of, just lettuce or whatever. And then add in the other things like proteins, healthy fats, and then try to avoid the things that I know aren't good, like fried toppings or heavy condiments, like things like that. And so that would just kind of be my thing. Like look for salads on the menus and just go to town. For dinners, like look for like clean meats and ask like, hey, could you, not add butter to this dish or not add any oil or anything like that. So.
How did your travel change at all, like after 2016, like when you started doing CrossFit or not?
Yeah, so as I got my years into working, responsibilities increased. So I had some pretty different trips. Like I went to India.
Oh wow, okay.
I went to the UK, and then I would make normal trips to like Pittsburgh or Dallas or things like that.
And how long are like is a normal trip? Is it
Usually a week?
All right, so a whole week there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how long was it in India?
India was, I think, 9 or 10 days.
Okay, so a little bit longer than a week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then I know you were doing kind of CrossFit style training at this time, or starting to.
For India, no. For the UK, yes.
So what did you do in India?
So India, we have a lot of offshore partners
Yeah.
that do a lot of our support work. And so we went over there for kind of an educational trip. So a lot of teaching, a lot of training on different things for that team.
What'd you do fitness wise?
I breathed.
Okay.
If you've never been to India, and specifically I went to New Delhi, which is
The air quality,
man,
not ideal.
I saw the sky for like 20 minutes for one day. The rest of the time it was just a yellow haze.
Were you so someone who is fit, I can't imagine it's like, were you like physically aware of the toll it was taking on you to like breathe?
So we got there, it was a 16-hour flight, and we got there at like 9-10 p.m. India time.
Yeah.
And straight to the hotel. I lay down on the bed in the hotel room, and I'm having trouble breathing. And it's just because of the air quality. Like, it's so bad.
That's crazy.
And just like you're breathing in, try to take deep breaths, and you cough, and it just like almost there's like a slight burn to it.
Golly. So it's like smoking, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, I've never smoked, but I would imagine that's what it's like.
You're breathing in
and
particulate air.
Yeah, and you could smell, like, it just smelled like burnt plastic everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
It was just horrible. And so, like, they had a hotel gym there, and, man, I struggled just to do, sets of 10 on things.
Wow.
And so, like, I didn't really do any, like, I ran a little bit, but, like, man, we're talking, I would run a mile at the most on the treadmill. And the rest of the time, it was just like, can I get through, just a normal bodybuilding workout without dying?
Man. How did you adjust to it at all? Like by the end of the week where you're like, okay, I'm kind of feeling better?
No. No. I mean, it was just bad. So
when you came back, when you came back to the States, did it feel like you had been like altitude training, or like you're like, gosh, I feel like my lungs are like champs right now?
I can't even explain the feelings that I had. I got back, and man, I could not explain how happy I was.
Yeah, but probably appreciative, man.
I cut my hair as soon as I got back, so it just felt like nasty. It's like, get all this out.
What'd you do for food? Because I feel like that's probably tough. Where like it's one thing if you're eating, it's the same like general cuisines, and you kind of know what to expect on a menu. But like over there, it's something totally different. So how was that?
Yeah, these were the days that I was pretty strict about what I was eating, because I was just figuring it all out, and I wanted to see like how lean I could get and everything. So I packed my suitcase full of food. Like, I'm talking 20 cans of tuna, oatmeal, like rice cakes. Like, I took as much as I could.
How was that they're going through customs? Because I've traveled with food in the past, but it wasn't overseas.
No issue at all.
Okay.
I don't remember all the details of it, but yeah. I just packed it in there.
Okay.
It was over there.
Did you try any of the Indian food?
I did.
Yeah.
And I got food poisoning. I had Indian food twice while I was there, and the first time I was up all night.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, at least you just were brave enough to try it a second time.
That was because I ran out of food. So I asked
don't have an option here.
I asked the hotel kitchen, and was like, can y'all just give me plain chicken?
Yeah.
Nothing on it.
Yeah.
I paid like $80 for like 12 ounces of chicken.
Holy crap.
And it was rough. It was probably one of the hardest trips I've been on.
Wow. Okay. How was the UK?
UK was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a different kind of trip. It was a response to a crisis. So I went over there in style. Like, I got sent over on the corporate jet.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, typical, travel woes, even if, like, in business class or something, of being stuck in a seat, all that. Like, I was up on the plane walking around the whole time. The bathroom was probably, like, half the size of this room with carpet. And it's just, like, I go in there and, like,
versus, like, where you're, like, doing
sit on the floor, stretch, and everything. But, yeah, that was a hard trip. In the sense we worked like 16-hour days.
Were you still did you still train during that time? Okay.
That was a tough trip all around, because at that time I was doing CrossFit. I lucked out because I had a buddy who, like, I actually met him on that trip, but he was big into CrossFit.
Work for the same company? Like
Yeah.
y'all went together? Okay.
So that was huge because, like, if you're traveling, it's one thing to do it all on your own.
Yeah.
But if you have someone else you can do it with, and you're out of your routine, you're trying to figure it out as you go along, like, that's huge.
That was big on accountability too, where it's like you both. It's easy in a 16-hour day to be like, I'm done. I need to take a break. But if you've like both said, hey man, like, let's at least get something done today. Like, no one wants to be the person that lets the other person down. So like you both end up doing it. And I imagine like in your case, which is the case with most people, is like you're probably the only one on that work trip who ever exercises. Yep. It's like you're the one dude. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we'd be up at like 4 every morning, and I think it was like an 8 or 9 day trip, to put it in perspective.
Gotcha.
But we'd be up at 4 every morning.
So
And
get it in before work, prioritize it.
we found a CrossFit gym that was like a 15-minute Uber away. And we went over there the first day and banging on the door to wake people up. There was a guy that lived there above the gym, and we talked to him. He's like, yeah, I'll open it up for you, at 6 in the mornings. And
Did they not have a class?
no.
They didn't have an AM?
They started late. They started like 8 every morning. And so
Is that cultural or just like for that gym?
I think it was part of the culture.
Okay.
I think they just have a later start. And so
that seems kind of like every gym I know has a morning class.
That's what we thought too. So we go over there on day 1 and like it's closed down. And we're like banging on the door. But we end up talking to the coach there, and he's like, yeah, I'll open it up for y'all earlier. So we would go over there at like 5:45, 6 o'clock every morning, and he'd have it open for us. We'd spend like 45 minutes to an hour in there, and then go back to the hotel, and then get on a bus and go to work, and then be home at the hotel at like 8 o'clock at night, maybe a little bit later sometimes. Shovel in some food, go to bed, do it the next day.
How was your nutrition around that time?
Not strict like India, but like I still want to put healthy things in my body.
Yeah, putting healthy things, but maybe not weighing out macros. Or were you doing macros?
I always do macros. Okay. Yeah, I've been doing. I'm the oddity. Like I've been doing macros for a long time.
Okay, and
it's easy for me.
Yeah,
and it works. So, So for that trip, I took some foods with me, like tuna, oatmeal, things like that. But once we got there, I found like a little grocery mart, and I think it's called Tesco.
Okay.
But I'd go to Tesco like every other day and grab like healthy vegetables, like carrots, apples, even like eggs, things like that, to have with me that I could eat that day or eat later or whatever, little snacks.
Okay, now are you taking over utensils and like cups or bowls to like eat your oatmeal out of? Or like you're tuning in packets, tuning in a can, you're taking a can opener? Or
So kind of think of it like a camping trip or something, like or a backpacking trip. Like take what you need with you in order to have, the least amount of tools that you need. So I would take like a Tupperware container with me, one for oatmeal, and then one for like making a big salad. And then I would take I had a titanium spork. That would serve the needs of everything. So just having those tools, and then I could just pick up the foods wherever, and then I'd be good to go.
What about supplements? Take any supplements, or would you take any supplements like with you over there?
Yeah, so I'd take protein powders. I'd take protein bars. Later, I'd start taking like BCAAs, electrolyte powder, things like that.
Yeah.
As I traveled more, I'd figure out like what I actually needed to feel good. And do it all. And so electrolytes was a big thing for me because I would get dehydrated.
Yeah, especially flying.
But even just like trips like that being really hard, like you gotta make sure that you're drinking enough. And water's not enough anyway. And so like, especially for me, like being out of routine, and just going nonstop, like I'm going to run myself down. So I need to make sure like I've got those essentials in my body.
In that situation, would you be like, okay, I know I'm putting in longer work days and burning more calories. I need to replenish these calories. Would you, I mean, were you like from a nutritional standpoint, you're like, I need to increase my caloric intake because I'm putting out more?
Not really.
Okay.
I'd say that's probably one thing that I don't do well with.
Okay.
Is eating more.
Gotcha.
Because I'm already out of routine, and so everything's like different to me.
Yeah.
And that kind of that messes with me mentally.
Okay.
So I try to stick to as much as I can.
That's
like
just more of a
normal
routine
things.
thing. Would you feel that? I mean, would you feel like kind of wearing you down? Because like towards the end of the week, you're obviously working long days, getting less sleep, maybe not getting not in that normal caloric balance. Like towards the end of it, you're like, I'm beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely could feel it wearing on the week. So like I'd treat it just like I would at home in that sense. Like I'd eat normal. If I was extra hungry, I'd eat just, a little bit more, an extra snack, whatever. But at the end of the week, when I know that I'm nearing the end, I would go and have like a cheat meal.
Okay. Yeah.
And so go out with the team, and instead of, eating my own thing or eating something really clean on the menu, like I'll have a burger and fries or something like that.
For the CrossFit style training, like, were you following a program and then just, I mean, if you obviously got a gym you can go to, you can probably follow it pretty close, or were you just kind of like going on the fly? Like,
Yeah, at that time I was following Invictus training.
okay.
Their competitive training or whatever it
Yeah.
was. So it was like 60 to 90 minutes of programming a day.
Okay.
And I would just try to fit in whatever I could.
Yeah. I'll get in the most important parts and see what I
Make sure I did something that was like either strength or ollie, and then absolutely something conditioning.
Yeah. All right. Then other trips, like your normal trips where you may find yourself in a hotel, like how would you adjust for CrossFit training in a hotel gym?
Yeah. So it kind of depends on where you are too. If it's like a work trip and I'm in the city somewhere, then I may try and find an open area near, like outside of the hotel, and do something out there, like whether it's a mixture of like body weight exercises, and I have my jump rope with me. I can incorporate that. Or if I'm able to take some of the hotel gym weights outside.
There's that 35-pound
Yeah. But so I'd look for like opportunities outside of the hotel gym.
Okay.
If it's a nice hotel gym, I'll be in there, and I'll try to look for really hard CrossFit workouts that are simple.
Yeah.
So like think of open style workouts.
Yeah.
So one go-to that I use like almost every trip that I go on because it's simple is I think it was like 17.5 or something. It was the 10 rounds of double unders and thrusters.
Okay.
And so I'll just do a variation of it. Like I can do
thrusters.
the double unders,
Yeah.
but if I have dumbbells, like I can use dumbbells
Yeah.
to do my thrusters.
Yeah.
And that's a hard workout.
Yeah.
And so if I do that, 10-minute workout, whatever, that's pretty good for the day.
Yeah.
Because it's really high intensity.
Yeah.
And so just like any other open workout, like short and sweet, or short and bittersweet, I guess. But that would be kind of my go-to.
Okay.
And then I would have days on the trip to where I'd change the focus, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I went really hard yesterday. Now I'm just going to go out and run for like 30 minutes or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, just got out a basic aerobic
Yep.
workout. Okay. Any other tips or tricks? What, as far as like things that you like have realized, like, man, like this is something I always take, I always need. Like, what's your packing list?
Yeah, I was about to say, let's go back to food real quick. So whenever I pack things, like I pack my supplements, and I pack snacks, and I pack the like essential foods to function each day.
Okay, let me ask you this. So, regardless, if you're taking food, you have to check it in. Like, am I correct in that you can't? So you can carry on the plane.
Yeah.
Food?
So when I went to India, I packed like 3 full meals with me and carried them onto the plane.
In Tupperware?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah. I went through security, And like I wasn't sure of it either at the time.
Okay.
So I think that was the first trip I went
Maybe
on
it's
where I tried that.
Maybe it's because I know that
Yeah.
it's liquids.
You can't take liquids.
Okay, that
Like
makes
anything over 3 ounces, I think.
Gotcha.
You can't do that. But
sense.
like
You can't take food. Okay.
I'd have full, like for India, I had 3 full Tupperwares of meals and went through security. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. And then going through security, they're like, "Oh, that looks good." And they just pass it on.
All
It's
right.
like, all right.
Okay.
So that's always my thing. Like if I know that I'm going on a trip, whether it's a road trip or a flight, and I know I'm going to be missing lunch that day because of the flight, or even 2 meals because of connecting flights, I'll just take those meals with me.
What kind of food are you taking? Because like some stuff obviously needs to be refrigerated or is ideally refrigerated, and some stuff tastes a hell of a lot better if it's cooked, you know. So like what kind of stuff what's your meal that you're taking on there?
Yeah.
For example.
I mean, you got to remember too, I'm eating it the same day.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I'm letting it sit out for 24 hours or whatever. So if it's something like milk, I wouldn't take that because that has a pretty fast decline and whatever. But if it's something like normal foods like salad, carrots, broccoli, chicken, beef, different things like that, like it's going to be okay for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Especially if it's with you and you're not like leaving it sitting out in the sun or things like that.
Yeah.
So like during the day, like I eat like a rabbit almost, like carrots, broccoli, lettuce, throw some lean meats in there. So I just throw that into a Tupperware.
Okay.
I used to eat like those high fiber wraps. I'd make little turkey wraps or whatever.
Okay.
Dinner, I'd have like whatever, maybe a salad, maybe broccoli, just different things like that.
Okay. So do you typically not consume like carbohydrates throughout the day, or when if you do you consume them?
Yeah. That's another little quirk about me. I don't eat carbs during the day.
Okay.
Just because I don't like how it messes with my blood sugar.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the ups and downs.
Okay.
And so for me, I do a lot better eating veggies, lean meats, and fats during the day.
Okay.
And so then that leads in, like I usually train, well, it's not true anymore because having a baby, that changes everything.
Yeah.
What I used to do was I'd train in the afternoon after work.
Okay.
And so I'd eat all of my carbs after working out. Maybe some just before to kind of give me a bump. But
if like having no carbohydrates in you, how that affected, like especially some of the more intense, shorter duration CrossFit workouts.
I may be an oddity, but like I did fine with it.
Okay.
Even still, like I don't know why, but I just tend to do better.
Okay.
And so I backload my carbs at night. I also do intermittent fasting, and that helps out a ton.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever have to worry about what am I going to eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm traveling on an early flight. What am I going to take with me? I'm not going to take anything. So I'm going to eat till like 12, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So you're taking those meals and then obviously, well, okay, let me ask you this. Like, how are you getting a titanium fork on the plane?
Yeah, I've never had an issue with that.
Really?
Because it's a spork. So, I mean, it's a utensil. It's not a knife.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like TSA is so, they're cracking on everything, but
they could have missed it. I mean, because they've missed, like, I took like a nail file with me one time, I took a nail file with me a lot of times, and they always missed it. And then one time, like, you can't have this. I'm like,
really? I've been flying with it for the last.
So who knows?
Okay. All right. What else is on the checklist?
Just the way, like, when I portion out things for trips, like, I'm pretty meticulous about it. So like I said, I'll have my supplements, my snacks, and then like the essentials for normal food.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to take tuna with me, I'll take tuna. If I want to take oats, I'll take oats. But I'll use.
How does your
Ziploc
team
bags.
members feel about you busting out a can of tuna in the middle of a workday?
When you first do it, you know, they give you a lot of weird looks. They ask you a lot of questions, and just be prepared for that. But like even still now, like people are always asking me. Like I went on a business dinner this week, and just it never fails. The topic always comes back to, well, what do you eat?
Yeah,
Protein? I'm like, yeah, I eat protein.
Yes. I eat protein.
So you just gotta be prepared for those conversations and just own it.
All right. Did you take a canned tuna or the bag tuna?
Just whatever. Usually whatever's cheapest.
Okay.
And I'll just take a can opener with me if I need
Did
it.
you have a can opener on the plane?
Yeah, man. Well, that stuff I'd check that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. That'd be a little weird.
A can opener and a wooden spork, like.
Sitting in coach, person next to me is like, "What are you doing?" I'm opening my can of tuna.
Have you ever busted out a can of tuna on an airplane?
I try
I feel
to
like
be,
that would be so selfish.
I try to be respectful. I try to be respectful for that stuff. Even like taking broccoli on a plane.
Yeah.
Like I try to be respectful for that. And so
That's why I call those fart trees. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like, someone's eating fart trees around here.
So I'll either like try to wait towards the end of the flight, or if it's in the middle of the flight, just gotta do it. But
Sorry.
I'll try to be quick with eating at least. But,
Oh, I could just imagine like the picture is just like gains. Sorry. So it's like you bust out tuna, then broccoli, and then as soon as the smell's gone, then you bust out some beef jerky. And I was like, this guy.
that's one thing I never really got into taking.
Beef jerky?
Yeah, that's a good one, but
That's like my like easy protein snack. If I just need something I can take that
yeah,
I can pack and is going to be somewhat healthy.
yeah, that's a good one for sure. I think cost always kept me from
The beef
from
jerky.
too. Yeah, because it's expensive.
It is expensive.
I'll wipe out a whole bag and it's like $20.
Yes, that's true. All right, so you got all portioned out.
Yeah, so I'll use Ziploc bags. So
Okay.
say I've got like a 7-day trip, and I'll pack 7 protein bars, one a day, and I'll put them into a Ziploc bag, and then I'll use a gallon bag and put them into that, and then take my protein powder, put that into that same bag.
Okay.
Take my other supplements, put that into that same bag.
Yeah.
And so that bag is devoted to supplements
Yeah.
and or protein snack.
Yeah.
And then for other things like if I've got electrolyte powders, if I've got pre-workout powders, greens powders, I'll portion those out into Ziploc bags. So
Yeah.
whatever, for one single serve, that's me.
Yeah.
I just take it and then put them all into a gallon bag. So I always know like where my stuff is in my bag.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm hungry. I need a snack. I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not digging around my bag. I'm not pulling it from the overhead and like
Yeah.
trying to figure out where it is and bothering people around me.
And you're not having to take a big old plastic container. If
Yeah.
you'll fit that into your bag at all.
The only bad thing about that is I've been stopped by TSA so many times
Because they have baggies.
because like, yeah, what is this? Well, it's protein powder.
Yeah.
We're not sure about that. So they, take you aside, do the chemical tests and everything.
Oh, you've had it chemical tested.
Oh yeah, like almost every single time.
Wow.
I was on a run for a long time to where it was the running joke with my wife and I, because it'd just be like, that was the other thing. Every single time I go through a scanner at the airport, my crotch goes off. I don't know what it is, but it is like in my region, it always sets off the scanner. And this last time we
The
traveled,
heat down there, man.
it was directly right there on my shaft. And as I walk through, I see the TSA agent's face, and it's just like,
He's like, bro,
oh man.
bro, I gotta wand you.
He's like, do you want to go to the room? I was like, I'm fine.
Just-
But yeah, they stopped me so many times to like swab my stuff and like do the chemical test, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, all right, you're fine, keep going. But they did take my stuff from me one time.
Just say, nah, we're not letting you have this.
Yeah, they took my whole bag of supplements. I was like,
Oh, yeah. You're like, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's crushing.
But
What about, they test every powder, or are they like just testing the white powder?
I think they tested like, I'd have like 3 or 4 separate bags.
Yeah.
Within the gallon bag.
Yeah.
I think they tested every single one.
So now do you pack an extra tester bag so you don't lose one of your days?
I think my success rate is pretty good. So I just go with it, and if I lose it, then I just buy more stuff.
Okay. So I have a funny bag story. In college, I was taking Inno Explode. Do you remember that?
Oh, that stuff was terrible.
No, it was bad for you. But in my mind, I was like, if Ronnie Coleman takes this, David Allen's going to take this. So, but it was expensive as crap, $50, whatever, for a thing. So, and you can't afford that in college. So,
Yeah.
I watched Mark Bell's, or not Mark Bell, whatever his brother's Supersize. Is it Supersize Me? No, the one about drugs. And I saw that like you could buy bulk powders. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna buy these bulk powders and like make my own Inno Explode. And so I like found this company and I just asked them to send me samples of like this list, because like the smallest you could buy was like a 100-kilo drum. I was like, well, so I was like, well, can you send me samples? So they sent me all these samples of like, creatine and caffeine, whatever all the different stuff was that was in this, Inno Explode, and it's all white bags. And so me and so then I borrowed some, scales from the chem lab. And so it was like me and like my 5 buddies sitting around our table in college, like each assembly line making this powder. We had like 100 or whatever, little bags of white powder. And it was just like, man, 1,000% if anyone walks in right now, like, they're like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
That's great.
I just portioned it all out, so that just makes it easy. It's sitting in your bag. You know where you can get it. You've got like your daily servings kind of all set up. What about like workout gear? What's your like, this is what I take every time?
Yeah, so a lot of it depends on the destination. So if I'm going on a work trip and I'm flying, then I take the lightweight things, obviously. So I take my jump rope. Man, that's really about as much as
what about like a band? Take a bands?
I'll take bands, but that's more just like stretching mobility. But I'm thinking like workouts.
Yeah.
But pretty much my jump rope is my go-to for flights. I have taken my weight vest with me on a flight before. So I packed that one. That one was checked. But I wouldn't wear that one on the plane. But,
no shit. What?
That's my go-to.
Like, did you have to pay for the extra baggage weight?
No, I managed the weight.
Okay, it was under 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my go-to. It's like if you have a weight vest, even if you don't have a weight vest, like really consider getting a weight vest. Like they're awesome. They're versatile. You can use them for aerobic workouts. You can use them for body weight workouts. And so wherever I'm going, if I can take my weight vest, it's going. And so whether it's a road trip or a flight, and I can pack it in the check bag, but you can do a lot with a weight vest that will completely change the dynamic of your workout.
Yeah.
So if you can, like, let's say if I'm going to see my in-laws in Texas, that's a road trip most of the time for us, and I can do more by packing in the car.
Yeah.
Like one time we packed the rower in the car, and we took the rower.
Did you have to take it apart?
Yeah.
Okay.
put it apart, and probably can't do that anymore with a little kid and having to pack all his stuff.
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
that was it was like, we can do this. We're gonna do this.
So I asked Kiki about this. Was it like whose idea was it?
Oh, it was mine.
Okay,
for sure.
And was she like, what? No, or was she like was she on board, or like, would you convince her, or like, how did that conversation go with like, hey, I think we should take the rower?
Oh, she was on board. Totally. She's like, I'm probably not going to use it, but I know that you got to work out every single day. And if it fits, so let's take it. Was
this on vacation or?
Yeah, this was just vacation. Go see in-laws.
Okay.
So that was great. I rode every single day. But yeah, so we'll just take what we can. So I mean, like, take a pair of dumbbells.
Yeah.
Take a weight vest. Take a wall ball. I mean, we've taken a box with us.
Yeah.
That takes up a lot of room in the car. But if you have a box that you can break down, that's even better. But take maybe a 45-pound plate.
Yeah.
Like, you can just do so many things with
that. Just having an implement infinitely increases your options.
Yep.
So if it's a weight vest, it's like you can wear that weight vest. you can use that weight vest as an implement where you can press or curl or throw whatever you want with it. Same thing with it, like a plate or a dumbbell.
Yep.
So it's like just giving yourself more options.
Yeah. And so it helps out a lot if you know where you're going and do some research. So when I'm using the example of going to see her in-laws, because there's her in-law or my in-laws live like less than a mile from her old high school.
Okay.
And they've got a track that's open. And so like every single time I go over there and I do a lot of outside workouts, whether I'm using the football field or just using the track space or using the track itself. Every single time I go to Texas, I know I'm doing Murph.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just take the vest, do Murph around the track, easy.
You do pull-ups?
Either on the bleachers or like they've
under,
got
underneath the bleachers.
Yeah.
Okay.
The space I'm thinking of, like they have, I don't know what it is. It's something serves some kind of football purpose.
Okay.
But it's got a bar up there, and it's a fat bar, and it sucks. But like I can use it for fitness. So.
Do you prefer to take your stuff, or would you rather like have a gym that's close by where you could go and like have more equipment options?
I mean, I'd rather have a gym, but like it all comes down to accessibility, ease of use, things like that. Because a lot of the times when we go visit, it's usually during holidays, and so most gyms are closed.
Yeah,
or it's like I can get a visitor pass, but visitors aren't welcome when the gym's closed.
Yeah.
If it's a 24-hour gym, things like that. And for me, it's like, again, it just comes back to like I need an outlet.
Yeah,
and it's like a lifestyle and mindset for me.
Yeah,
and so I'm going to find a way. And if that means like I just take my own stuff with me, then I'm still happy at the end of the day.
You may be somewhat limited in your options, but your like of your workout options, but your just ease of getting it done is significantly higher when it's just up to you versus trying to figure out scheduling with the facility or whatever.
You're limited in your options, but you also end up doing a lot of fitness that you don't typically do normally because you're having to, adapt to what you have.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: on vacation, do you ever not train?
No.
Do you still train at the same frequency?
I train as much as I can.
Okay.
Sometimes I train even more than what I do normal day to day. It just depends. Like,
because you have a little more free time.
Yeah. Like example, we went on a beach trip one time, and I took the vest with me, jump rope, those things. I did beach workouts.
Did you do jump ropes on the beach?
No, I did not do that. That would have been a little weird. But no, I did like a beach workout that was like push-ups, squats, burpees, running, all on the beach. And it was raining at the time too, which was, for me, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was better than a normal sunny day beach workout.
Cool you down a little bit.
Took a sandbag. Okay. So if you have like a strongman sandbag, just empty it out.
Fill it up with sand. Yeah.
Fill it up with sand.
I mean, what's your current? You train 7 days or 6 days, or what do you currently do?
Usually 7 days.
Okay.
I usually do something.
Okay.
So I usually take a rest day once every 2 weeks ish. I took a rest day yesterday because I felt wrecked.
Yeah.
So another example, though, Cake and I went to Cancun back in end of January, early February. And I worked out more on that trip than I do normally day to day because, one, we didn't have a kid.
Yeah.
Two is like, well, they have this really nice gym.
Yeah.
I can go and do a morning workout and then hang out.
Yeah.
Go eat breakfast, go hang out by the pool, on the beach, whatever. And then afternoon, it's like, I can go and do something else real quick.
One way you could think of it is now with a kid, you have another implement.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and somewhat of a more difficult implement because they wiggle and move and cry while you lift them. All right, cool. Any other tips or tricks that you can think of?
Try to find, like, when you're going places, like, do your research. Like, look at the hotels, look at the gyms that they provide, look at the gyms nearby, look at the outdoor spaces too. If you can take any equipment with you, like it doesn't take much, like a pair of dumbbells if you're going on a road trip. Take a rope with you, a vest if you have a vest, like, and just look for the implements that are already there. Like if you know there are stairs somewhere, if you know there's hills nearby, bleachers, things like that. Back to the UK trip that I took, the hotel I stayed in was like 14 or 15 stories. So one day we couldn't get to the gym that morning, so I threw my backpack on. I put as much as I could in the backpack, and I did those stairs for an hour. And so like that's just look for things like that to be creative.
What about clothing wise? Because someone then ended up having to pack like double clothes, because if you have your workout clothes and then your work clothes, assuming you're not wearing the same clothes you worked out in to work, like what do you do for that?
I mean, that's never been a concern for me. Like, it's just a necessity. Like, I know that I'm going to work out every day, so I need to pack, at least a minimal amount of clothing for that. If the hotel has laundry service, laundry service.
That's what I was going to ask, like, because my thought would be like, okay, if I'm going on a 5-day trip, I can probably take a 5-day trip in a backpack. I don't have to check anything on. But that's, 10 pairs of clothing, which is like pushing the limits of that like backpack capacity, and especially if I end up having to take like 2 pairs of shoes, like a workout pair of shoes, and then like whatever, another pair. I was like, I don't know if you're like, that first pair of clothes I work out in, it gets washed in the sink and then it gets air dried on the drying line, or if you did anything like that.
I mean, it can be tricky. For me, a lot of the traveling I've done, I've had accessibility to laundry service or to do it myself. But like for the UK trip, we were told 1 bag. And when I was told about that trip, there was like, you're leaving sometime in the next 48 hours. We don't know when exactly, and we don't know how long you're going to be there.
You can take one bag.
Take 1 bag. I'm like,
okay.
You better believe that. It's this, I think this 5'11", 72-hour bag I have over here. It looked like it was ready to burst at the seams, every single pocket. I had stuff hanging out on the outside of it.
How big
I had my shoes tied, hanging off on the outside of it. Like,
now I'm ready.
You find a way.
Like it. So man, it just seems like you could summarize it with just like, one, you just gotta prioritize everything. Don't take it as a like, I'll try to find a way to work out if I'm there. It's like, I'm going to work out when I'm there. I'm going to eat right when I'm there. And then because of that, I'm going to be strategic in like planning ahead and having like doing some research, find out what are my options going to be, so that when I'm there, I'm setting myself up for success and not every day having to kind of fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah, and it just comes back to, like I mentioned, mindset and lifestyle. Like for me, I decided a long time ago, like, this is what I enjoy. I enjoy living a lot more by incorporating this stuff into my daily. And so, like, I'm going to prioritize it, and I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that, like, I can fit it in and do those things. And if that's the mindset you have, then it's really easy to navigate. It may be a challenge to figure out how to do it, but you end up being pretty creative in it. And
there's probably some significant rewards of like just feeling like, that was a challenge and I found a way to get it done. It just helps build into the confidence the next time that something happens, like, I'll find a way, I'll get it done. Yeah,
because I mean, not growing up, but like through college, a lot of my friends that I hung out with, vacation was always like the end goal. And it was like, I'm trying to, get fit or be a certain weight or certain image for this vacation I'm going on. Then on that vacation, like, I'm blowing everything away. And then by the time I get back, like, I'm in a pretty bad state. And it's like, I take the opposite approach. Like, I don't want a vacation or a work travel trip to set me back at all. Like, I still want to make progress, whatever that progress is. If it's like something for my mind or if it's something for my body, like, I'm still going to come out better on the other side.
I like it. Yeah, you'd be surprised how much bloat you can put on in a single day. But for like drinking margaritas and eating weird food, Those abs can go away real quick, real quick. Is there any like particular, and you might have already kind of like you told us some really good ones, but any like particular story that just sticks out? You're like what was like the most strange workout you had to get done or something like that?
I can't think of any strange ones. I mean,
or anyone that sticks out. Could be like the hardest one.
I mean, India was definitely the weirdest trip I've been on, and probably the most defeating trip I've been on.
Yeah. That was so much out of your control. It's like, well, can't, like I can do my best, but like I can't breathe.
Yeah. My best is like 60% right now.
I wonder, like, because like what I'm thinking is like similar to elevation training. It's like the idea being like when you train at elevation and like at a lower oxygen content, when you get back into a normal oxygen saturation, like you feel better, you perform better. So would Indian athletes in New Delhi like hit these ginormous, I guess it'd be something to look into in the Olympics. Like, do they go and like hit these crazy personal PRs when they go somewhere not there?
I don't know. I mean, I would also wonder if there's another factor that plays into it, like trying to correlate it to altitude training, but you're also breathing in a lot of pollutants.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. There's got to be something to that.
Yeesh, yeah. Well, bud, any final words for everybody?
Nothing nostalgic or anything. I would say just
do it.
Yeah, just plan ahead. Like, look into the place that you're going to. Just try to be creative with what you can take with you, and just use resources that are at your disposal. And one thing I didn't mention was I'll use Wadwell a lot.
Okay.
To look up like different workouts.
That's the one you punch in what you
have access to. Yeah. And you say like, all right, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. What workouts do you have for me? And it goes and shows them off. And it's like, I've used that a lot in the past. So
it's Wadwell.
Wadwell.
Like WODWELL.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah.
Awesome,
I think
bud.
that's all the wisdom I have for you.
Love it, man. I appreciate it. All right, Wes, thanks for coming on. MBS Fitness Radio out.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.